Hello everyone. I think you remember this assembly. This is the assembly from previous video. Only I have or I will just close it and I will open it again. So this is the assembly from the previous video that you can download from the previous post. I will only delete this constraint now because I want to present to you this time how constraint solver obtains the solution clearly against the constraints defined as boundary conditions for the solution that is to be done to the assembly constraints. I wrote in one of the previous posts that the problem is that constraint solver gets the solution that is not following the defined constraints, and now I will present it to you. So this assembly now has 1 degree of freedom, so it is rotation of the handle and the axle assembly about this axis. So if we go 3 degrees of freedom, so we can now see the first problem, that the degrees of freedom analysis is not working at all once the assembly has a flexible component. So clearly we do not have now the indication of this degree of freedom that I am now using to rotate the handle. And let's face it, this is wrong. This is another bug that is related to using flexibility. But getting to the point, let's see that I will now place the handle, let's say, in slight an angle. I will present it to you. So now we clearly see the angle between this and this surface. I will measure the angle for your convenience. So now the angle is reading 59.18 degrees. I will now apply a constraint, or I will try to apply a constraint. This constraint is, as you can see, angular constraint with explicit reference vector. So I select the first surface, I select the second surface, and the vector and for the vector I select this edge here. I don't know if you can still see here. Select other, press normal, edge vector. So we have an angle, and I will put a 0 here. As you can see now, the constraint was applied to the assembly and the reading is 0, but as I can prove now, the angle between this surface and the other surface that I have just created is 59.18. That is clearly far from 0 that it should have, and design doctor shows no error. And as you could see in the constraint applying process, the design doctor nor the constraint solver brought up no errors whatsoever during the constraint applying. So this is the clear example of constraint solver getting the solution that it should not in any case got, and throwing us no error messages, no nothing, just a badly solved assembly that causes problems on the further steps of using it. So this is proof to the statement that I have made a few posts earlier, that the constraint solver is not solving the assembly properly, and the design doctor is not validating the solution properly because the solution is not as the boundary condition that I have just created. So please, Autodesk, could you reply to that, and could you verify that, and then in the end please fix this buggy behavior